here, another video. This one will be a video where I share my thoughts, opinions on someone or something going on in this wacky, weird world called professional wrestling. As you can tell by the title below, this one will be about my thoughts on if AEW pay-per-views are too long. And before I share my thoughts and opinions, would love to know what yours are down in the comments below. While you are down there, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, turn on post notification. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it would mean a lot to myself if you did. And when it comes to AEW, I just want to say I would classify myself as a casual AEW fan. I would watch Dynamite, I would watch the pay-per-views, and that is genuinely about it. I don't watch their content here on YouTube. I don't watch Rampage. I don't watch Collision. And that's because when it comes to their content on YouTube, there's other content creators both within and outside of wrestling that I would rather watch than more wrestling. When it comes to Rampage and Collision, that's mostly to do because I don't want to get CSN Plus just to watch an additional 3 hours of wrestling week in, week out kind of deal. If you do that and you're a fellow Canadian, good for you, but sometimes there's a little thing called too much wrestling, which kind of leads into not WWE, I apologize, does AEW have too long of a pay-per-views? And I would love to know what your thoughts are on it, especially if you've even attended one pay-per-view or one TV taping, because I've done neither, and I doubt that I will. But for myself personally, it is one of those things where sitting, maybe not necessarily at home, but anywhere besides being in the venue, at points throughout their 5 or so year history of doing pay-per-views, granted the first couple of years, really up until the pandemic, it flew by, or at least my memories of watching the pay-per-views flew by, but it wasn't until like the last, I would say year and a bit, like probably beginning of 2023, where it felt like pay-per-views kind of dragged. I don't know for sure what time zones it starts where you live, but the pre-show, buy-in, buy-out, whatever you would want to call it, starts, I think, at 7 till 8 usually. Maybe it's 6 to 8. And then from 8 to about 11:30 midnight Eastern is when the actual pay-per-view is. And I try to watch, or at least have it on the TV, the pre-show stuff, because there tends to be at least a couple of people on the pre-show that I either want to watch because I've liked some of their work, or I have to watch because I love their work. And I know that watching the pre-shows for AEW pay-per-views, 9 times out of 10 do not impact the pay-per-view itself, or I don't want to say necessarily the storyline, but it's just to fill out those extra couple of, most of the time hour-long pre-show, try to entice people to order the pay-per-view and whatnot. And I can understand why people would skip out on it, because again, that's an additional, let's say, hour added on to the actual pay-per-view watch time. And again, for myself, there tends to be, again, 9 times out of 10, either people I want to watch or I have to watch kind of deal. And I don't know for sure if it's because I don't want to say I'm getting older. I'm old, but I'm not like old, if that makes sense. But it's just something about the pacing where let's say if I start watching at 7, I tend to be mentally done by like 10:30 when it comes to watching pay-per-views. And like I said, I could always cut out the buy-in or the pre-show, but that's missing some wrestling, if that makes sense, and all of that stuff. And I don't know for sure how you could do it, because I have never run a business. I never even did a day of post-secondary school, let alone take a business course in college or university. So I'm nowhere near, I bring that up because I'm nowhere near a business expert. I don't know how much extra money in this case AEW would bring with that additional hour of pay-per-view time, but I assume that it's not nothing, so I can understand from a business aspect why they would do it. And when they did, they being AEW would do like 4, maybe 5 pay-per-views a year. That would be different. I don't know for sure again if it was pacing or because it happened few and far between, but it was easier to sit through. Back in the day, it wasn't until like the last year or so where it became a drag, and I don't know for sure if that's a me thing or if that's a AEW thing or somewhere in between, but for myself personally, AEW pay-per-views are too long. I'm just saying this, like I'm recording this part before AEW Dynasty, but it's going out after, or it probably, yeah, definitely after it. But yeah, overall, sometimes it feels like it's too long. I probably would have done or put out a review, probably would explain if that review if it felt too long. But last year and a half or so, maybe not year and a half, year and a bit, definitely felt too long for myself personally. And now that they do a pay-per-view every, I think I've seen every 6 or so weeks, month and a half, it would probably start to feel longer kind of deal, and all of that stuff. But yeah, that's it for this one. Feel free to hit the like, subscribe, turn on post notification. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it would mean a lot to myself if you did. More importantly, hope you guys are doing okay, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
The world that we tend to make up is nothing but a fantasy until you wake up. I feel like I'm just lying to myself, yeah. Cause I just crossed the line like I'm playing offside. Do it how I want and I'ma do it till I die. Feel like I'm just lying to myself, but it's